Hello everybody, we are back for another edition of Active Recovery. Okay, it's been a little while since I've come on here, but things have been pretty heavy lately, and so we're gonna get back on track now. We are going to do a little bit of shoulder work, a little bit of hip work, and then finish it off with some core work, working on the front and the back of your core. So we're gonna start with the 2-round circuit of some dynamic stretching. We'll do a 2-round circuit of a little bit of active core work, working into a 3-round circuit of some shoulder stabilization, hip opening up, and then finish off with a 4-round circuit of some more core work, okay? If you can't do this now, please save it for later. We're gonna need a semi-lightweight, but something enough to challenge you, enough that you have to balance against it. And then a couple of lighter weights for some shoulder work, if you have them. If you have a soup can or even some bands, that'll work. And if you don't have anything, we use body weight. It's just fine, so don't worry about it. Hope everybody's doing okay this morning. Say hi and tell me where you're from. We're gonna start with some dynamic stretching, okay? Again, this will be posted to my IGTV later, and I'll probably upload it to my YouTube as well, where you can find other active recovery pieces to be done. Now, active recovery, meant to be done to heal the body with movement, right? This is not meant to be for time, meant to be super stressful. This is meant to get your body moving, go through the ranges of motion so that you start lubricating the joints and you can get over some intense training sessions that you probably already went through, okay? So when you need to get a little sweaty, but you don't want to do anything destructive, this is what you do, okay? So we're gonna start with a spider lunge plus rotation. We're gonna do 3 of these. So we're gonna start into our standing plank position. Kick your leg up to the outside of your hand. You're trying to get it all the way up to the outside of your hand so that you have a vertical shin. From there, the hand that is closest to that front foot is gonna go down towards the elbow and then reach up towards the ceiling. We're gonna do this 3 times. We're keeping the back leg long, trying to drop the hips, but with the back leg staying long. Rotate towards that front leg. 1 more. Again, dynamic movement. We're not pushing into any end ranges and we're not holding it. Other side. 2 more. Okay, so now we're going to go into a little hip flexor stretch. Make sure you're not pushing into that anterior capsule. You want to tuck the pelvis under, right? This is going to very much limit your range of motion, and then push the hips straight forward. Again, just teasing it a little bit. You'll notice if I let my pelvis drop forward, I can really get deep into that stretch. That's not what we're going for. We want to really tuck the pelvis under. Imagine you have a bowl of water and you're dumping it out the back of your hips, and then reach that arm up. It's just a small little move. Tease it and release it. Tuck the pelvis under, push the hips straight forward, and then release. We're going to do it 5 times, so we have 2 more. Beautiful. Go ahead and switch sides. Again, chest tall, abs tight, pelvis tucked under, push the hips forward. 5 reps. Two more. Good. Okay, so now we're going to do a kneeling snow angel. The goal here is to just start going through a range of motion with the shoulders. You want to actively pull the arms back. Chest is lifted, but the ribs are hidden, right? Tush is tight, long reach. You want to really reach with the arms, go as wide as possible. Try to cover your ears with your biceps, and then reach on the way back down as well. We're going to do this 5 times. Notice my head is in neutral. I'm not letting it drop down. I'm actively pulling it back. Long reach, back down, 3 more. As I reach up, I'm pulling the shoulder blades down so that I create this space between my shoulder and my ear. Last one. Good. We'll do that for 1 more round, so starting with the spider lunge. Standing plank position, kick your leg up, elbow to heel, rotate towards that knee. You're moving the same side of the leg that's in front. Switch. keeping the back leg long and a long reach through that planted arm. Push the floor away from you, reach up. Onto the hip flexor, pelvis tucked under, abs tight, poke yourself in the tummy here a little bit. Make sure you have a little resistance there. Back tush tight, push the hips straight forward. This will limit your range of motion, and that's what we are looking for. Don't want to just loosely push into it. We're getting into that hip flexor, which means we've got to lock that pelvis into position. 2 more. Switch. You'll notice I do most of my active recovery pieces barefoot. This is a great opportunity to see and feel and strengthen how your foot engages with the floor. When you have shoes on, you're not as capable, and it's harder to learn that skill. It's harder to figure out whether you're even doing it correctly. Kneeling snow angels. Again, chest up tall, abs tight. Poke yourself a little bit. We're starting to get all this firing. Get your butt tight. Long reach, palms face forward. Reach the arms up. Pull the shoulder blades down as you reach up. Cover your ears with your biceps and back down. If you find you're having a hard time either getting all the way up or covering your ears with your biceps, it's something you got to work on. If you hang from a bar regularly, but you don't possess the ability to reach your arms directly overhead, you will be causing damage to your shoulders. Okay, so that's the first 2 rounds of dynamic stretches. So now we're going to just start getting into a little bit of activation. We're going to start with 6 plank to down dog to a behind the neck shoulder tap. That's a big long way of saying we're just going to start activating those shoulders a little bit, getting them to start really firing. And then we're going to go into 6 each side of a bird dog. And then we're going to go 6 each side for a dead bug. Okay, so we're just going to do this for 2 rounds, starting with the standing plank. You're going to push into a down dog position. So keep your feet still, drive the heels down, lift the hips, pushing your chest towards your toes, tuck your chin, and reach behind the neck to your shoulders. Back down to the top of that standing plank. Lift the hips, push the chest out. We're getting a nice long stretch along the back side of their legs. Shoulder tap. You'll notice I'm moving slowly here. We're trying to move with intention, right? Actively push that floor away from you. Stabilize with that base arm. Come back down. 2, 4 more. Big push. I'm shoving the heels down, trying to get into a deeper range every rep. Last one. Fingers splayed, my hand fully engaged with the floor. Just as your feet would be standing, you want your hands to be engaged when you're trying to push the floor away from you, either in a plank, a pike, or a handstand. Okay. So now we're going to go into a bird dog. Hands and knees directly underneath your hips, hands directly underneath your shoulders. Opposite arm and leg. We're going to curl into a little ball here without collapsing that lower back. Okay, so keeping the nice flat back, abs tight, elbow to knee, and then reach straight out. Not allowing any movement here in the lower back or in the pelvis, right? So we're really staying engaged. We want to actively squeeze that back leg. It's not loose. We want to make it nice and tight. Curl in, slow, reach. You'll notice my thumb is up. Head is in neutral. You always want your spine in alignment, right? Spine goes from the bottom of your head all the way down to your butt. Good. Active arm here. Last one. Beautiful. Switch. Get tight, get stable, then start moving. You want to move slowly on these so that you can make all your little balance corrections along the way. The faster you move, the less opportunity your body has to find itself in space and to correct what's going poorly. 2 more. flip over into a dead bug. I hope you guys can see me because I had to go in the shade today. If you've watched my last couple of active recovery videos, you'll notice that I'm burning my feet because I'm in Sacramento and it's darn hot even at 9:30 in the morning. So I'll be partially in the shade. You're gonna start on your back. Now a dead bug you can do with either knees bent or with legs straight, right? If you have your legs straight, it requires a little bit of hamstring length. If you're having a hard time with that, just try to straighten your legs as much as possible, okay? What you don't want is your heels all the way down towards your butt. At the very minimum, you want a 90-degree angle, okay? We're gonna tuck the pelvis under, shove our lower back into the floor, shove our head down into the floor so that we start engaging those postural muscles. Arms are gonna be up in the air, opposite arm and leg are going to come down. So move slowly so you can feel whether anything else shifts out of position, right? Again, the faster you move on this, the less time you have to correct whether you're moving poorly or not. Active recovery is meant to be done with intention, not for time. Again, if you need to poke yourself in the tummy all the way around to make sure that everything is tight, please do so. If you're finding it too challenging to alternate or to move both arm and leg at the same time, just move one, right? You can keep the hands still and just move the legs, or you can stay on the same side over and over again and then switch after 6 reps. So we'll run through that one more time, starting with the plank to down dog to the shoulder tap. So standing plank, push the hips all the way up and back, tuck that chin, reach behind your head. Back to standing plank, all the way up and back, very active shoulders. Push the floor away from you with your entire hand, back to standing plank. 6 reps here, guys. More. Actively shove your heels down towards the floor. Push your chest through the window here. Last one. Remember to breathe. Active recovery is also a great opportunity to practice your nasal breathing, right? Keeping your mouth shut. Deep breaths in through the nose, allowing you to control pace. Going slow, shouldn't be a problem. Bird dog, opposite arm and leg. We're gonna start opposite arm and leg, curl in, elbow to knee. Reach, actively squeezing that quad as you reach that foot back, keeping the lower back nice and still. Imagine you have a fancy martini on your lower back and you don't want to drop it. You'll notice I'm kind of spotting here on the floor. That helps me to keep my head in neutral and also helps with balance. Last one. Switch. Switch nice and slow. Allow your body a chance to figure out what's happening. Then start slow movement. Squeeze at the end. Squeezing the elbow. Squeezing the knee. Two more. Beautiful, and then we're back to dead bug. On our back, arms and legs up. I'm gonna go straight leg because I have the ability to with my hamstrings. If I did not, I would bend my knees a little bit. Back is gonna be flat, head is gonna be shoved into the floor, opposite arm and leg. Super slow. Do not allow any movement here in the lower back. more each. Make sure you breathe. There's no point in being able to bear down if you can't then breathe through it. Because when we're doing our high intensity exercise, you should always have the bare minimum of tension in your abs, okay, at all times. Just see somebody wrote here, I find it's hard to work out at home. I'm here in LA, I'm going to the gym now. Good, get your butt in there. But you can also work out at home. It just takes a little bit more dedication, but you feel much more rewarded when you're done because you're like, holy crap, I did it. All right, we haven't had a choice for the last 3 months, and I've found that so many people haven't been able to just find this new gear within them working out at home. So just try it. Try it for a week, try it for 10 days. See if you can't make it part of your routine, part of habit. All right, guys, so now we're gonna do a 4-exercise, 3-round circuit, okay? This is gonna be a little bit more intense, certainly not a high intensity workout, but we're gonna start doing a little bit more challenging of moves, okay? The first one we're gonna be doing is a lateral step over to a sumo squat. Now the point to this is just to open up the hips and to make you connect your hips with your core, okay? So if you do have something to step up and over, go ahead. If not, we are just going to mimic stepping over a hurdle or a band or a bench, okay? So you're gonna start with your feet both pointing forward. Let me see if I can't tilt this down a little bit. Both feet are gonna point forward, okay? From here, you're going to pretend like you're stepping up and over a bench or a hurdle or a band, and you're gonna land with your feet pointed out in a more sumo position. From there, we're gonna sit into a nice deep sumo squat, pulling our knees out. If your toes are pointing out, your knees have to point in that direction, right? They cannot go in, right? From there, in one move, you're gonna push out of that squat, picking that leg up, this is where the core comes in, and pulling it all the way back around to a standing position. We're gonna do that 6 times. So it's one motion on the way down, one motion on the way up. Abs are tight, lift the leg, that requires a lot of stability here. Rotate it open, you'll notice my torso is not moving yet. I'm actively pulling my hip around, and then I'm gonna sit down into that sumo squat. From there, abs are tight. Now it's this leg's job to pull me up and around. From here, up and over, I'm dragging that leg and pulling it back, okay? 4 more reps there. Shoulders back, abs tight, all the way up and around. Sink down into that sumo squat. Pull yourself up and back around. 3 more. Last one. All the way up. You're gonna feel that one of your legs will want to collapse in, probably more so than the other. Don't allow that to happen. Other side. Both feet pointing forward, chest up tall, abs tight, all the way up. Rotate open, sink down into that sumo squat, pull yourself up and around. Okay, I did not do a good enough job stabilizing on that leg. Pull the knees out, pull yourself back up. Okay, this leg is doing a lot of work here. Three more. Lots of abs involved here. If you need to poke yourself in the tummy to make sure everything's firing, go ahead. Last one. If you start feeling a little pinching in the front of the hip, that's more than likely indicative that you have a weakness there, right? You want to start strengthening those hip flexors. Okay, so now we're going to start using your shoulders. This is where our semi-challenging weight comes in. We're going to lay down on our back, and we're going to press like we're doing just a floor press, a dumbbell floor press. But then we're going to, from here, rotate our knee over. This requires a fair amount of stabilization in the shoulder and allows you to start feeling where your shoulder needs to be in pressing movements, okay? So, everything on the same side is moving. We're gonna start with your legs out. Other hand is gonna be out to the side with your palm up. From here, we're gonna press, lift the knee up, rotate over and reach further up towards the ceiling. We're gonna reverse that, bringing it back down to the floor. 6 reps. Press, lift, rotate and reach. You'll notice my shoulder is not collapsing in towards my ear. I'm keeping it pinned down. Over, back down. 4 more reps. Up, lift, rotate and reach. This is a good opportunity to work on your grip and your wrist position in a pressing motion. I see a lot of people that have a loose dumbbell like this. You want to keep it in your palm and keep your wrist tight. Last one. Switch sides. Other arm out, palm up. I have your palm up because if you turn your palm down, you'll see what happens to the shoulder here, right? It collapses in and gets you in the not ideal position with the shoulder blade. So we want the palm up and your wrist pushed down into the floor. That gets this whole line of tension and your shoulder packed in a good position. Elbows down by your side. Press, lift the knee, rotate over, reach. Keeping the shoulder away from your ear, bringing it back down. And one side is going to feel a lot more comfortable than the other and a lot more stable. That's fine. That just shows you which side might need a little more attention. And whenever you do any single arm or single leg work, whichever side needs a little more attention, just go ahead and dose an extra set there, or dose a couple of extra reps per round. That way you can start dealing with and addressing imbalances from left to right. Last one. Okay guys, so now we're gonna hop up and we're gonna do a deadlift to a single leg stance. Now the goal here, single leg deadlift to a single leg stance, the goal is to make sure that this base leg is doing a whole lot of work. So we're gonna start with the opposite hand of the leg that's on the floor, the one that we are using. From there, with your foot fully engaged with the floor, you're gonna drag that dumbbell down your leg just like you would a barbell, loading the hip a little bit, allowing the knee to drift forward just a smidge, pull up through that leg, and then from here, I want you to use your abs to lift the other leg up and then squeeze that quad. Lift the kneecap. We're looking to stack all the bones here. I want your hip, your heel, your knee, your hip, your shoulders, and your ear to all be stacked in one line at the top, right? Abs are nice and tight. We're gonna unlock, load that hip a little bit, allow the knee to drift forward a smidge as long as your foot is fully engaged with the floor. Pull up and squeeze. 6 reps. Gotta make sure your shoulders are locked back. You'll notice I'm spotting again in order to help with balance. As I reach forward, I'm not allowing the weight to take my shoulder with it. I'm pinning it back. Last one. Lots of abs. And drive up. Okay, we're gonna switch sides. Roll the shoulders back. Poke yourself in the tummy if you need to. Chest out, eyes focused. Load that leg up. Just a slight forward push of the knee, loading up that hip, and then push yourself away from the floor, making yourself nice and tall. That base leg a long line. Squeeze, unlock. Again, one side's gonna feel a whole lot more comfortable than the other. Don't allow the knee to buckle in as you come down. 2 more. If you feel like you're having a hard time really balancing through those whole 6 reps, as you come down, give yourself a light toe touch of that back leg, okay? This does not take any weight from the front leg. It's just a little toe tap in order to keep you balanced so that you can get through the move without having to struggle and fall off the floor. All right, so now we're gonna grab our lighter weights. Again, if you don't have lighter weights, you're fine doing this with just your arms and the length of your arm being your weight. We're gonna do a bent over I, Y, T, okay? The thumbs are gonna be pointed up every position, okay? From here, feet are directly underneath your hips. Unlock the knees in order to release the lower back a smidge. Abs are still tight. I want you bent all the way over. If you do not have that stretch in your hamstrings, unlock the knees a little bit more until you can get to this position where you're almost at parallel. Flat back, abs tight. You're gonna reach up into the I position, out a bit into the Y position, and then thumbs up all the way out into the T position. 6 reps. Again, head is in neutral. We don't want it down, and we don't want it looking straight ahead. No wrinkles on the back of the neck, looking straight out. Shoulders away from the ears. Every time you reach out into a position. 2 more. This one. Very good. Okay guys, we're gonna go through that 2 more times, starting with the step up and over into the sumo squat position. Start with feet facing forward, chest is up tall, abs are tight. We're gonna lift and rotate through that leg, landing in that sumo squat position. Again, abs tight. Use this leg to then pull you up and around. 6 reps. Two more. All right, guys, other side. Chest up tall, abs tight, up and around into that sumo squat, and then pull up and around. 6 reps total. Take your time here. If you want to hold something in the goblet position, feel free. Just helps to increase that tension a bit. Does not have to be very heavy. 2 more. Make sure your knees do not buckle in on each one of these squats. You want to really pull them out. Beautiful. Okay, we're back down to the floor. Press and rotate. Everything along that same side is moving. The other arm, palm up, shoulders pinned down away from your ears. Press, lift the knee, rotate open, reach. 6 reps. Keep the abs tight to control this rotation. As you're coming back, abs are tight. I'm pulling that knee around and then stopping it. Last one. Okay, we're gonna switch sides. Palm up, wrist shoved down into the floor, head down, elbow by your side, reach, lift, rotate and reach. Focus on your shoulder position. Do not let the shoulders come up into your ears. 2 more. Press. Make sure you're pulling the shoulder down as you press up. Last one. Deadlift to stance. Again, opposite hand holding the dumbbell. Load up that leg. You want to start in a tight, tall position. From there, your body has a better chance of correcting itself. If you start loose and try to catch yourself as you're moving, it's going to be a lot more challenging. So get tall, get braced, get tight. From there, unlock that knee, hinge forward, pull yourself up, squeeze that quad, lift that chest, pull the shoulders down, abs tight. 6 reps. Again, if you're having a hard time balancing, just do a little toe touch there and then work on getting a squeeze. Just a little love tap with that back foot will allow you to maintain your balance. Two more. Keep the dumbbell really close to you. If it's drifting forward, you've probably disengaged your lats, and we want them pulled down. So you want that dumbbell really close to your leg. Okay, other side. Back, tight, tight. 6 reps. Do not allow the knee to buckle in on the way down or on the way up. You also want to keep that big toe fully engaged with the floor. We tend to have a cue that says push through your heels. That doesn't mean just push through your heels. It means you want pressure on the heels, but you still want that big toe and the ball of your foot working with the floor. Last one. Pretty sure I did 7 reps there, but you're gonna be all right. All right, bent over, IYT. Again, just a light load. We do not need a lot of weight here. Feet directly underneath your hips. Unlock the knees. Hinge all the way forward. Abs are tight. Head is in neutral. I position with the thumbs up. Y position with the thumbs up. Externally rotate. T position with the thumbs up. 6 reps. Make sure your shoulders do not end up coming up towards your ears. You have to pull the shoulder blades down as you press out. Last one. Very good, guys. We're going to go through that one more time as I towel off because it is hot out here. Starting with the step over into a sumo squat. Feet directly in front of you, or feet pointing straight, feet underneath your hips, abs tight, shoulders back, lift the leg up, rotate open, land in that sumo squat, pull yourself up and around. Two more. Very Very good. You should be feeling a lot more control now, right? Everything's working. Abs are tight, shoulders back, base leg tight, rotate open, land in that sumo squat, drive those knees out, pull yourself back. Two more. Very good. Press to rotate. Other arm out, palm up, shoulders pinned down. Press, lift, rotate and reach. Reverse it. 6 reps. Again, focus on your nasal breathing. Working on maintaining tension as you breathe. Again, poke yourself in the tummy if you need to. Should always be a fair amount of tension there. Other side. Arm out, palm up, wrist shoved down. Press, lift, rotate and reach. And if you're just jumping in, this will be on IGTV, as well as my YouTube channel, where you can also find a ton of different movement demos, lots of stuff with minimal equipment, since we've been, my wife and I, pumping videos in there over the last 3 months, according to what our clients have at home. And it's been working, which is wonderful. Super proud of all my clients for keeping it up during these crazy times. Okay, so single leg deadlift to a single leg stance. 6 reps, opposite hand holding, shoulders back, abs tight, eyes focused. Unlock and reach for the toes. Pull yourself up, squeezing that quad, lifting that kneecap, taking a moment to get yourself really tall. Don't allow the knee to buckle in. Press it out over the second and third toe. Two more. Keep that dumbbell close. If it's drifting forward, you're losing that shoulder engagement, right? You want to keep pulling that down. Keep that lat pulling that shoulder down. Other side. Tight. Move slowly so that you can do all these little balance corrections that are necessary in order to stay on one leg for so long. Tight grip. You don't want it to drift down into your fingertips. That's just a position of weakness, and it starts drifting up the arm and lands in the shoulder, and I guarantee you, you're losing that pinch in your shoulders, that pinning down. So keep that dumbbell in the palm of your hand with the knuckles under. It goes for bent over rows, kettlebell swings, deadlifts, snatches, anything. Okay, we're gonna finish off with those bent over IYT. One more round of 6. Feet underneath your hips, unlock at the knees, hinge forward, thumbs up, into a Y, into a T. Shoulders pulled down, I, Y, T. Again, the whole foot pushed into the floor. Push the big toe down, the ball of your foot. Very good. Okay, guys, so now we're going to finish with a little 2 exercise, 4 round circuit to just get the core finished off a little bit. Hello, everybody. Just wanted to see who's on. I'm going to have a little bit of water. Okay, we're going to start in a bent knee, activated position here. Okay, from here, we're going to take your fairly heavy dumbbell that we just used for the deadlift and for the pressing, keeping everything nice and still. We're going to press straight overhead and then back down. We're going to move nice and slow here because as you press up, your lever gets a lot longer, right? So the tension and the pressure on the abs is a little more extreme. So stay within a range that you can really control it. If that means you don't get all the way overhead, that's completely okay. If you can't do it with the weight, just reach with the arms. It's still challenging enough. What I don't want to see happen is your feet drop down this way or that you fall, okay? So let's move nice and slow. If this is still a little too challenging, rest one heel down and lift just one leg. And you'll do 4 reps, switch, 4 reps, okay? So we're gonna start here. Get tight. Again, my eyes are focused. I'm spotting, right? From here, I'm gonna press straight up, bring it back down. As I press up, my shoulders are pulling down, trying to squeeze my knees together and keep everything still except my arms. We've got 4 more reps. We're just doing 8 reps here. Two more. Beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to flip over onto our tummy, and we're going to do an alternating Superman, okay? I want your forehead to stay in touch with the ground. So if you need to wrap up a towel to rest your forehead on so that your nose doesn't get in the way, go ahead and do so. If not, you're just fine doing it on the floor, okay? It's not necessary. From here, we're gonna rest our head. Arms are gonna be overhead with your thumbs pointing up, and I want you to actively shove your hips down into the floor. That means squeeze the tush, get the abs nice and tight, shove them down. You will never release that position as you're lifting up. What that does is make sure that your pelvis is locked in a good position and that your abs are engaged so that we're not just lifting up through the lower back, okay? You want it to come from the shoulders and from the glutes and the hams, not from just arching your lumbar spine. So we're gonna keep that engaged, nice and tight, thumbs up from here. Opposite arm and leg lifts up, and then switch. You'll see this is a very small movement. There's not a lot going on as far as movement is concerned, but there is a lot going on in your body. We're gonna do 8 each side. Again, I'm not lifting up my head. Abs are tight, hips are shoved down into the floor. 2 more. Long reach. I'm trying to keep my elbows straight. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to do those 2 exercises for 3 more rounds. Okay, so go ahead and flip on your back. Dumbbell up at your chest or whatever weight you have. If you have weight, if not, it's fine. Feet up off the floor. Squeeze the knees together. Get balanced. Reach straight overhead and back down. 8 reps. Two more. Onto your tummy. Supermans. Superwomans. Okay, we're not moving just to move. We're moving with intention. So keep your head shoved down. Keep the hips shoved down into the floor. Opposite arm and leg lift up. Shoulders are pulled away from your ears. 3 more each. Two more rounds. Feel your feet up off the floor. Again, do not let the heels drop down towards your butt. Keep them up high. Slow reach, staying within a range that you can fully control. Three more. Shoving your hips down into the floor is the most important part here, people, okay? Do not let yourself just arch. Get set. Squeeze that tush, shove the hips down, shoulders away from your ears, opposite arm and leg. Keeping your head on the floor. Eight each side. Halfway. Last set. And last round. Nice deep breath so you can stay nice and tight. Here we go. Three more reps. Very good. And then the last round of the Supermans. Tuck the pelvis under, shove your hips down, shoulders away from your ears. Small little lift. If you're doing this correctly, it should limit the range of motion that you have in order to lift up. If you're feeling yourself flying up off the floor, I guarantee you, you are not activating those abs and you are not shoving those hips down into the floor. So fix it. 2 more each. Beautiful. Okay guys, we're gonna finish off with a couple of hip opening stretches. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you are bendy and you do not have any problem pushing into some really deep end ranges on your hips, your shoulders, it generally tends to be a systemic thing. So if you find that you are hypermobile and you're super bendy, you're done for the day. Get the heck out of here, okay? If you feel like you have a little bit of limitation, now if you're bendy, sometimes you might feel like you have a limitation, but that's probably due to a lack of strength in your end ranges, and so you feel really, really, really tight, and you keep stretching, and nothing's getting loose, and blah, blah. It's because you're doing yourself a disservice. So for my bendy folks, my hypermobile people, get the hell out of here. You're done, okay? Start doing some isometric holds and some end range stability, not mobility. For my not so bendy folks, we're gonna start doing some hip openers, right? So we're gonna work on the internal rotation of this hip. We're gonna start with 90-degree angle here, 90-degree angle here, and we're just gonna work on leaning back and sitting up, okay? Leaning back and sitting up. If you feel like you can get into a deeper range, we're gonna come down onto the opposite elbow, reach, and then come back up onto the hand, okay? Down onto the elbow, we're gonna reach, and then come back up onto the hand. I'm doing this semi-dynamically for just about 3 reps, and then what we're gonna do, that's just to open up the movement to you, we're just gonna rest there, okay? So now the goal is to get both elbows down. You'll see that I'm lacking in this range, so what I'm gonna do is just hang out here, allowing the weight of my leg to just pull my knee down towards the floor, okay? I'm not actively shoving it. I'm breathing deep and I'm just relaxing, okay? A few deep breaths. Again, if this is no problem for you and you can just lay all the weight down and it's just like, piece of cake, you're done for the day, okay? Just go about your business. See you next time. If you're feeling a little bit of pressure, just hang out here for a few more breaths. And then think about doing this in a dynamic way the next time you go to squat, right? Plenty of people lack internal rotation. We focus a lot on external rotation as we squat, but internal rotation is just as important. Okay, we're gonna release that slowly. Sit up tall, shift the hips over, again, 90-degree angle. We're gonna work on leaning back. Do that for a few reps. Okay, lean down onto the elbow, reach, come back up. Again, just like everything else we do that's unilateral work, one side might feel a lot more comfortable than the other. What that tells you is that one side just needs a little bit more attention than the other, right? So one might need more stability, one might need more strength, one might need more range of motion work, right? So instead of increasing that imbalance and doing equal work on both sides, what you want to do is dose yourself an extra set of strength on that weak side. Work on your stability a little bit more on that weak side. Mobilize that one side a little bit more than the other, right? You want to fix that imbalance. We don't want to increase the difference there or the disparity, right? You'll see I'm very capable of getting both elbows down on this left side. So I'm just gonna leave this one alone for a little bit, right? It still needs a little bit of work, so I'm stretching it, but I'm gonna cater to this one more so than the other one. So what I'm gonna do now is do another set of stretching on this right side, because that one was just a little bit more extreme for me. If you found that one side feels better than the other, then I want you to, as well, spend more time on the side that felt more challenging. I'm just gonna lean back. Again, I start getting into this other elbow, and it's just not as enjoyable. But after having done it for a little bit already, I can now get this elbow down and I can hang out there for a little bit longer. Deep breaths. Every time you exhale, just sink down a little bit deeper. I want my knee to come down to the floor, but I'm not pulling it down to the floor. I'm allowing it to just relax and settle. Release that. Allow the hip to settle back in position, and we're going to do 2 variations of the pike stretch, okay? So, if you have limited range in your hamstrings, sitting up nice and tall and pushing your heels all the way out might just be it for you, okay? If you have a little bit of range, then I want you to sit up really tall. Pretend there's a pole up your butt and you can't bend it, right? So chest out towards your feet. Stick the tush out and lean forward. This should be a fairly limited range because we are not allowing the lower back or the thoracic spine to assist us in reaching for our toes. I literally want your chest going forward, your butt going back, and your knees completely locked out. From here, you're gonna grab onto your legs and pull your chest forward, okay? So my biceps are pulling me in, but I'm maintaining that flat back. I'm still keeping my heels pushed out. My quads are tight, my knees are locked. Again, if you're tight and this is it, that's it for you. Do not fake getting into a range of motion that you do not actually have. Okay, from here, we're gonna point our toes, we're gonna tuck our chin, and we're gonna allow the thoracic spine and the lumbar spine to help us get into a deeper range. Okay, so now we've tucked all the way in, rounded rounding out our spine. We're trying to get our forehead down towards our knees and our toes are pointed. So we released that tension in the hamstrings. You're gonna sit up tall again. Push the heels out, chest out, hands on legs, pull yourself forward, maintaining that flat spine. If you have some sciatic nerve involvement, you'll be feeling this right now. Release, point those toes, round out the spine, and get your forehead towards your knees. You should feel this drift from this position, heels out, chest out, pulling yourself forward. You should feel most of the tension along the back of the legs here. Chest out towards your legs, towards your toes. Point the toes, round out, and in this position it should drift into your lower back and maybe even into your neck, depending on how tight you are along that route. Couple deep breaths. And we are done. Okay, so like I said before, active recovery, meant to heal, not hurt, meant to be done in order for you to keep pushing hard and do your high intensity movement, high intensity work, okay? These are recovery pieces. A lot of times you can use a segment of these pieces to use as warm-ups. Get your body firing. Like today would have been a great day for thruster day or heavy clean and jerk or just some presses, right? We got the shoulder locked into good positioning. So break these up, use them when you need them. You should be doing 2 active recovery pieces per week, especially if you're training 4 or 5 heavy intensity days. So go ahead and throw them in there, test them out. I guarantee you, you will be feeling better when you're done, okay? So go donate to something. Black Lives Matter. Let's go make a difference, guys. I'll see you next time.